And I'd like to call today's council and committee meeting to order on February 4th, 2024 at 10 a.m. At this time, I'd like to remind committee members and members of the public in attendance that all committee and council meetings are recorded. Please note that these recordings may capture comments made during meetings or in breaks or recesses. Recordings will be available to the public on the municipal YouTube channel for members to view. The public may also attend the open session of this meeting in person in the municipal council chambers. Please mute all electronic devices during this meeting. Thank you. And now I'll read the First Nations land acknowledgement. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of Council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. So I do have a recommendation to adopt the agenda. The recommendation is that council and committee agenda for February 4th, 2025 be approved as presented. Could I get a mover for that? Councillor Schulis, seconded by Councillor Blank. Any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
None here.
None.
Seeing none, we will now move into delegations and presentations. And I'm pleased to have the library here, Natalie Barrington, the CAO, and Bill Houle is coming up too. So welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good morning,
Natalie.
Mayor and councillors. And Sue Clark, CEO, thanks for having us this morning. I'm here with Bill Houle from the board and Mary Conway. And we're here to talk about our budget for 2025. But first, I'd like to, of course, go over some of our statistics for 2024. Library visits, go to the next slide. Library visits were up 24%. Over 2023, we serve an average of 47 patrons a day. Even in the off season, so outside of the summer months, it's still 39 people a day that come into the library on average. Our memberships increased by approximately 20% last year. Although MV memberships are down slightly, BLR memberships did increase again significantly. I hesitate to talk about memberships because so many of our services can be used by residents whether or not they have a membership. People can use the public computers, the Wi-Fi, come in and use the photocopier, all attend programs. All of those things don't require a membership, so it's good to look at our numbers overall. The next slide is borrowing. Borrowing of physical items, which is the checkout number, was up 5% in 2024, and use of digital items was up 22%. Our interlibrary loan statistics are down 18%, but this can be attributed to the postal strike. As well, there's a new interlibrary loan system that was implemented in November, and many libraries suspended interlibrary loans during that time. So those two obstacles greatly affected interlibrary loans in November and December. We did add over 1,000 books to our collection last year, so we're constantly bringing in new material to keep the collection fresh and interesting. And the next slide. Use of public computers has gone up by 18%, and use of our Wi-Fi, people bringing their own devices to the library to work and use our internet, has gone up by 55%. Printing has also gone up. We're finding more and more people are coming into the library to use the photocopier, to print, to copy, to scan, and that's gone up by approximately 40%. Printing is also one of our sources of income. We don't keep stats on tech help, so that's why I have a question mark. And that's something we'll be doing in the new year because more and more people are coming in almost on a daily basis and we're helping them with using the public computers, either accessing email, setting up an email, how to use their cell phones, how to print, help with scanning and photocopying. We're spending more and more time on those technology things. So I am investigating ways that we could offer some workshops to the public for technical skills. So hopefully we'll be able to do that in 2025. We held 60 more programs in 2024 than we did in 2023. Attendance is slightly lower, but we did offer more programs to the community. People are definitely looking for things to do. One of our most popular programs definitely is our children's programming, especially our PA Day activities. And the next slide, donations and fundraising has increased by approximately 10% over 2023. So we are always looking at ways to increase our self-generated income. And we greatly appreciate everyone's support of the library through donations and making purchases at our book sale. These numbers also include our front desk sales for printing, any little one-off fundraisers that we do. So lastly, we'll go over the budget. So we did have some unexpected expenses in 2024. Our tech support line was over budget, and as well as our internet budget. We had a lot of troubleshooting to do with our new internet that we had installed from the Ontario Library Service Connectivity Grant. We have great internet, but it took a while to get it set up and running properly. We also overspent on our book processing line, and that was because we added a significant amount of DVDs to our collection. The DVDs were donated, but we still had to process them. And now that we're the only place in town to borrow DVDs, we felt that that was worth the expense. So for 2025, we expect our operating grant from the province to be the same with no change, but we are asking the municipalities for a 2.5% increase. This is a small amount again this year. We feel like we can continue to offer the same programming for just a little bit more money. We did increase our goals for self-generated income from fundraising, donations, and front desk money. And if we go to expenses under wages, the increase for wages is not an increase of numbers. This increase covers a cost of living increase only. Under administrative expenses, I've decreased it slightly. We're always looking at ways that we can be more efficient. For example, we got rid of the paper bags for reserves. It seems like a small amount, but we were going through quite a few bags. So that's an expense we've looked at getting rid of. And we're also doing more e-payments instead of mailing checks. So we're always looking at little ways we can save money administratively. Acquisitions has increased slightly. The book line is the same, but I am hoping that we can increase our collection of audiobooks, periodicals, and DVDs. As I said, many people are still coming to the library to borrow DVDs, and they want new releases, so hopefully we can add a few new movies every year. Our population is still using printed magazines, and we have subscriptions to the local newspapers, and we've had some requests for some new magazines. And audiobooks as well. We need to update our collection a little bit. Again, with electronic databases, more and more people are using digital products. So I'm constantly looking at what other libraries in Renfrew County are offering and trying to offer similar databases. Connectivity, I increased slightly as well because last year we spent more money on tech support, and we do have some needs this year to upgrade our operating systems on all of the computers, as well as to clean up our network equipment. If you've ever been to the library, you've seen the mess of boxes and wires in my office, and we'd like to clean that up and make the network more secure. Building and facility increase just slightly. Again, that's to cover increased maintenance needs. And lastly, under projects, we kept our budget line the same for programming. We feel like we can still offer the community a lot for the same amount. But I did increase pools because I'd like to add a second large print pool to our collection. We have a large older adult population and they are asking for more and more books with large print. Those books tend to be expensive. They're $50 to $60 a book. So the pool allows us to rotate our collection every 3 months and bring in new material at a low cost. It's about $150 per pool. We're also asking, on top of our budget request, if the council would consider upgrading our current security system at the library. The DVR and cameras are over 10 years old. I have a picture here. You could see in the top left corner, there are people sitting in the corner of the basement. The employment center was having an appointment and you can't see them. And again, in the upper right corner, you can see we can't see the parking lot. So newer cameras would have a wider view and capture more. So we would have fewer blind spots in the library. Since we're 2 floors and we only have enough staff to really cover 1 floor, we depend on this video system to see what's happening in the other parts of the library. And I had got a quote from our current security company. A new DVR would be approximately $900, and to upgrade the 5 cameras would be $300 per camera. This doesn't include labor, which is hard to estimate because they don't know what kind of trouble they might run into running wires in an old building. But we're hoping that you'll agree that we need to upgrade our security system. For example, we had an issue last summer where we couldn't access the DVR. It doesn't seem to be recording and no one knows how to get into it because it's so old. So upgrading that would allow it to record and then we could access video. And lastly, we requested if we could get the eaves troughs at the front of the building fixed up so that there's less water at the entrance and less ice and hazards for people coming to the library. So that's it. Are there any questions about our budget?
Any questions from any member of council? Councillor Schulis.
Yeah, it's to you, Mr. Mayor. Not a question. I think everything is positive here. I like to see those increases in that. As a library user, I was there last week, and a lot of traffic. You can see the increase in all that. So keep up the good work.
Thank you, David.
All right. No, it's good to see these numbers, and we will be reviewing this in detail with our budget deliberations next week. So we appreciate you coming this morning, though, to sort of give us a, I'll just finish. Just to give us an overview and prepare us for our meetings next week. Councillor Blank.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Natalie, and the board members that are in attendance. I just want to congratulate you on a fantastic year. I think that the many things you have done with the amount of money you have done and the way you supply our communities with programs and events and books and keeping up to date on things and becoming a communication hub. I like the idea of looking towards tech help and setting up some type of programs so that people in the community can come in and learn on the device so it doesn't take away from your time. I fully support the cameras because the ones we have now do not record. And as things go on, I think it's something important we have to do for the safety of the staff as well as the users of the library, because we cover everybody from infants to the very elderly, older than me. And I think that we definitely have to do that and keep our entranceway clean and clear. So I would support that when it comes to budget deliberations. I just want to congratulate you and thank you again. I think you're moving in the right direction with some excellent stuff happening. And I referred to it last time as the little library that could. Now you're the big library that does. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Councillor Blank.
Thank you, Councillor Blank. And how old are the camera? You mentioned something about a machine that you can't
So
even.
we estimate that the DVR that records and shows the video is at least 10 years old.
Okay.
And nobody knows the password to get into it. And we're not sure that it even records, so we need to upgrade
Yeah.
our system
Yeah.
to something that can record and we can have some
No, I
be
think
able
it's.
to access the video.
I think security is very important in that building, and I think it's absolutely necessary. I know I will support it, and I also, the eaves project over the front door, particularly, that needs to be done too. So thank you, and we appreciate your report.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Sue.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a question, Natalie. Remind me again what the membership fee is?
So there's no fee for people who live and pay taxes in Madawaska Valley and BLR. But if you're a non-resident, there's a $10 temporary membership, which is for 3 months. And if you'd like a year membership, it's $30, and that's for the whole family. And those membership fees are in line with what other libraries in Ontario charge with similar population size.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Natalie. Okay. We do have a second delegation scheduled, but it was to be via Zoom. They're not on currently. So we will continue into our meeting, and I'll ask the deputy clerk to alert me as to when they are, and then we'll go back to their presentation. So we have no minutes of local boards and joint committees. Wait, did I miss something? Oh, no. The council and committee portion of the agenda we'll move into, and we'll start with operations, roads, and waste management. I'll turn it over to Councillor Micah for this section.
We're on item number 8, and going to 8.1, municipal reports. There is none. And 8.2, correspondence and information. 8.2.1, municipal household hazardous waste events for 2025. My thing is out of order here. Yeah, sorry, give me a sec. Hello, Hillary. If you'd like to tell us about the 2 parties you're going to plan for this summer, that would be wonderful.
Good morning,
No, good
Council.
good job. I'm glad you've got 2 events.
We secured 2 dates, July 19th and August 9th. We're out of the gate early this year, and we can get it in our tax bills.
That's
So,
great.
Yeah, the dates.
So Saturday, July 19th, 2025 is a joint household hazardous waste day combined with Madawaska Valley and Brunel-Raglan Township, which from 10 to 4 will be hosted at Yard 2 in Cumbermere at the Municipal Garage, which is fabulous. Because we hit July, it's important to get the cottagers, so.
Yes.
And if it's only one event, it's hard to, on one day, so this is wonderful. And then the second event will be on Saturday, August the 9th from 10 to 4 at Paul J. Yakubuski Community Center. And that is
Yard 1.
Yard 1.
Yeah.
Beside-
Or Yard 1. And that is Madawaska Valley Township residents only.
Correct.
So that's a good job. Glad to see that. They are very successful. And it's really good to see that people are taking advantage of that, and it's that type of waste isn't going into the landfill.
Councillor Micah?
Yes? Oh, sorry, Mary, you're really little at the top. I didn't see you up there.
It's good to be little
Go
sometimes.
ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Hillary, I just wanted to ask you, how have they been running over the last couple of years? Are there increases or decreases in what's coming through and what's going on? I know we're coming out of COVID and people are moving more about, and I think during COVID, a lot of people were cleaning out their houses and garages and everything else, and basements. What is it like now, and what percentage of stuff are we getting, and is the support from the community good on this? Thank you.
It's well attended. Of course, the joint one at Yard 2 is a lot more vehicle traffic coming through because we're hosting 2 townships. And definitely the split is less percentage from BLR as opposed to Madawaska Valley. But they are both well attended. I can't believe it. There's a lineup right out to the highways on these events. Sometimes we run into a problem, like last year at the arena, there was a baseball game that day, but we made it work.
Yes, I thought that there was something happened last year that there didn't seem to be as many people coming and dropping off stuff as well. Is that correct?
It was less, but it's still well attended. Like I can't give you the numbers. I can get them for next.
Oh, no, that's good. But thank you. We can encourage the people to get it. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments on hazardous waste? None? Okay. Now, how are we handling the pension?
They're still not on. I did reach out to them, hoping that they will join in via Zoom soon.
Okay. Do you want to just kind of stay here, Hillary, then? And is that okay? Should we just move on and then we'll go back once they're on?
No, we'll keep on going. So I think that concludes the
does, yeah.
operations, roads, and waste management. So we will call on Councillor Wachowski for and you have none. So so the next thing is actually fire and protection, emergency management. And I guess we do need the chief here.
I think the chief would be great to have here.
Yeah.
Can we go on to the next one maybe, or how long do you think the chief will be coming up here? Oh, there's the chief. Okay, good morning, Chief. How are you doing?
Good morning, Councillor Schulst.
Okay, listen, we're gonna take care of business here. Under 10.1, municipal reports, 10.1.1, fire activities and call for service. It's all yours, Chief.
Okay, start off maintenance repairs. North Hall heating system has been repaired, it's working well. The South Hall second washroom is operational, new sink, vanity, along with new toilet's been installed, everything's working well. So we got 2 washrooms in that fire hall, which is a good thing. 2007 North Hall pumper had the automatic air compressor had to be repaired. So that's been done. With the South Hall washroom, we realized we got an issue with the light. It's in the washroom, so that'll have to be replaced here in the next week or so. I was talking to Wilkes. So the old one is about 50 years old, so that's for replacing this. So, you know, it will be replaced here in a week or so. Wilkes just supposed to get a new outlet and a new light, and they'll replace that. Just give them an update. I just found out this morning. Training and meetings. On January 15th, the CEO Sue Klatt, Deputy Clerk Brittany Tomasini, 2 representatives from the M&R, myself, met to review the wildfire agreement between Madawaska Valley and the MNRF. The agreement is for 5 years. After reviewing the agreement, there are no changes. This has been going on since amalgamation. It's more or less an insurance. If something does go wrong, we have to pay less fees to the M&R if they do come in on Crown land to help us, and then vice versa. They'll pay us if we have fight fires on Crown land.
Good.
So we're just looking to say to council committee to recommend to council to accept the agreement at the next council meeting, to sign it, and then move on to the 5-year agreement with that. On January 17th to January 19th, Captain Training Officer Tim Belinsky attended signing authority course in Minden. Tim did pass the course with no problem. That will now allow us, once they get the signing authority through the province, to be able to license our own DZ truck driver, firefighters as they come on board, instead of sending them through to the MTO River. We'll be able to do it in-house. Takes about 30 hours to get a truck license, so that will save us taking trucks out of service, and also make it a lot easier for our firefighters to get their license obtained once they get hired.
Good stuff.
Grant training, the Madawaska Valley Fire Department successful for the 3rd year in a row to get a grant from the Fire Marshals Public Safety Council. Received $1,562 to go towards buying 4 laptops for training purposes, split between the 2 fire halls. The Fire Marshals Public Safety Council sided or worked with Best Buy to give discounted prices for the laptop for fire departments throughout the province. So we want to thank both Best Buy and Fire Marshals Public Safety Council for providing us grant money for our past 3 years to help with the certification for the fire department. The Fire Marshals Public Safety Council is a non-profit company that sells training materials, smoke alarms, and everything to fire departments only. Can't do it through the public. So they've been very good backing all the fire departments throughout the province. We'd like to thank them. And calls for service, I know it's not on there, but I will explain it to you. I got it right here. We've had 4 in the month of January up to today. One was a stove fire. One was a CO alarm. We had 1 false alarm at the high school. And we had 1 small chemicals that was non-founded. In January, that was the 4 calls we had. Nothing for the South Station, but all the North Station had them 4 calls.
Okay. Very good, Chief. Any questions from council here? Councillor Blink.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Corwin. Also, just want to ask you, what kind of things do you foresee coming up this year, just so that before we get into our budget deliberations, is there anything as the fire chief that you feel that we need to look at?
The one biggest thing we probably like a communications tower for a repeater, because we're having serious issues being able to talk to dispatcher, even doing it because it'll cover off ourselves for the paging if their system goes down. That'd be the biggest thing in the budget. Other than that, it's pretty much just an operational budget.
Okay,
Like
all right, thank you.
Like I say, all the years of all every council, including this council, have been good. So we got an asset management plan that we can follow pretty easily. And the council, like I said, every council since I've been here for the last 9 years have been very supportive of the fire department. So we're in good shape right across. There should be no big hiccups that I can foresee unless something comes out of the blue.
Okay, thank you. And just to follow up, I did hear a few people comment about the notices that we had put in the newspaper and online about CO alarms, and I think that was very beneficial to keeping our community safe. Thanks for getting that done. Thank you.
Yes, anybody else at the table? I don't see any. We'll, this is received as information. So the next one here is bylaws activities under 10.1.2. Chief?
Okay, in January, we've received 1 animal complaint, which we've dealt with and closed. We had 1 legal dumping complaint. The person made the complaint hasn't followed back up with me. I did an investigation. I couldn't find who did the dumping, but he's doing Long Lake and Shannon House Road again, right where the intersection is. Every once in a while, they seem to take a spur. We have signs up there, but people still, so we have to install cameras eventually. We have another part of the township to rectify that issue. And we had 1 landlord tenant complaint, which was been going on for the last year or so. But that was dealt with, and that's also been closed now.
Okay, that sounds good. Any questions here? Councillor Blank.
Thank you. Just in regard to illegal dumping of trash and stuff like that, Cebulski Road is still getting hit. And I think the cameras have to be fixed up there so that that person will be caught, because they're continuing to dump regular garbage. And unfortunately, the neighbors have had to clean it up. So I think that that's something we can talk about. I'll be in to discuss that with you. But it's important for the community to note that take your garbage to the dump site. That's where it is. Thank you.
Is this like Sobolski Road, and is there anybody coming forward to complain about, or is this something that you know as
Yes,
council?
there is. No, it's been discussed a few times. And I think that it was discussed with you at one time too, David, I think. Okay.
Madam CEO, you had a question?
Yes, thank you through the chair. It's not about the animal control. I did have my hand up. I was wondering if council would consider doing a resolution just confirming the grant will be applied for the purchase of 4 laptops, if I may read a resolution.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Recommendation that council and committee recommend council approve the grant from the fire marshal's office in the amount of $1562.82 be applied towards the purchase of 4 laptops for training purposes, partnering with Best Buy.
Very good. I need a mover. Councillor Micah and Mr. Mayor seconds it. All in favor?
Thank you.
It is passed. Thank you, Madam CEO. Any other questions under bylaw? Seeing none, we received this as information. And no correspondence, no unfinished business. So my committee is over, and thank you very much, Chief, and you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Councillor Schulis. We do have Pinchin on the line now, so we will go back to our second delegation. Just let me find our place in the agenda. Okay, so we have, this is regarding the 2024 landfill capacity review and liability estimate presentation. And welcome, Alana.
Thank you. I'm also here with Tim McBride.
Okay. All right, well, if you'd like to go ahead with your presentation, we'd appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll just share my screen. Okay, that should be sharing, and I'll let Tim take it away with the presentation.
Hi everyone, sorry about that. I was having issues with my microphone, and so I've had to put my air traffic controller headset on here. So anyways, thanks again for inviting Alana and I to participate in council meetings. I love to have the opportunity to chat with you guys. We've been working with the municipality for a long time, and I really do appreciate those opportunities, and I'll try and make this as painless as possible for you guys. So go ahead, Alana, if you want to go to the next slide. I think most of you have had the opportunity to meet me on occasion. So just so everybody knows, Alana and I are waste management specialists. So that's what we do. I would say, 90% of Alana's time is on that, and probably 75% of my time is on waste management type stuff, between landfill monitoring, landfill design, and more recently, a real big uptake in this whole asset retirement, ARO, landfill liability estimate stuff. So we've been doing a lot of that across the province with the new ARO guidelines that came through a couple of years ago. So Alana, you can continue. As I alluded to previously, the landfill closure and post-closure liability estimates, or asset retirement obligations as they're sometimes referred to, are set out by the Public Sector Accounting Board. So that's the process in which we followed, and that's consistent with the approach that we've always used for the township and the facilities that are under your care and control. We apply to your sites, we apply the MECP issued inflation and discount rates that they issue on an annual basis they issue them for financial assurance. That doesn't necessarily, apply directly to municipalities. but they do hold like third parties, like private people, private landfills are held to the same standard. And in fact, they are required to put up financial assurance in case they ever went bankrupt. And, what would it cost them to do an emergency closure, that sort of thing. So these are MECP issued numbers, one for inflation and the other is for deflation over time. And then you also have some other criteria you have to follow. There's one rate for sites that are expected to close within 30 years, and then for stuff that's extended beyond 30 years, you have a different rate that you apply, with a discount rate. Next slide, Alana. Sorry, and if there's any questions at any time, please feel free to interrupt me if you want to keep it fresh in your mind. Otherwise, if you want to hold them all to the end, I'm totally open to whatever you guys are more comfortable with. So Bark Lake is the active site in the community. We recently did some waste capacity work on the site, and we've confirmed that there is a significant volume of waste currently in place. Almost, roughly 50% of your approved volume, let's call it. We've also had the opportunity over the last couple of years to do regular surveys, so we have a real good understanding of how much waste is being received by the landfill site on an annual basis. Keep in mind, and I think some of you that were on previous meetings with me and these discussions, you can't just take it year by year, because sometimes you will have a big influx to the landfill, like say there was a big demolition project or something like that. So what Alana and I like to do is use all the data that's available to us. So we've, done surveys, topographic surveys for the last 5 years on this site. So what we do is we take the difference between those two surveys, and that displaced volume represents the annual fill rate. So we run a 5-year average just to kind of flatten out any of those peaks that may be associated with a one-time waste deposition activities, such as a demolition project or something like that. So your 5-year average fill rate is almost 10,000 cubic meters a year. So
Tim, we can't hear you now. I'm not sure if you can hear us. I'm having issues with your headset. No, we still can't hear you. I can see that you're... We'll give you a few minutes to get sorted.
There we go. We're like a two-headed computer now. Sorry, where did I lose you guys?
It's a bit annual fill rate, but it's a bit staticky. I wonder if it's because it connected in your office again.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. We can hear you okay. No. We can hear you okay.
Yeah. Though. Okay. No, I unplugged the one in my office, so that one should be dead. So, okay. So annual fill rate, yeah. So you guys are at about 10,000 cubic meters a year. So that corresponds with a remaining lifespan of about 9 years at this point in time. So that's factored into the liability estimate of when the landfill is going to close. And then, of course, you have a minimum 25-year post-closure monitoring period. So we've carried that forward as well. There may be opportunities to change the monitoring program, the post-closure monitoring program, but you still will have to do sampling and inspections for a 25-year period. So yeah, for Bark Lake, we had an estimate last year of 2.1 million, and this year we're up to 2.4 million. So that results in a change in liability of 350,000. A lot of that, well, almost all of that is related to the all of that is related to the change in the interest rates, with a small influence based on the volume that's now at the site. Hang on a minute. So, excuse me. Did you just go kick me off that meeting in my office? Yeah. I'll just have Alana remove me from the meeting from the other computer. So yeah, the thing that's important to note too is, you know, sometimes we get questions like, do we have to have like $2.4 million in the bank today type of thing. It's really important to note, like, as your closure to the landfill is projected to be, 9 years out, 10 years out, you don't necessarily need all of that today, but it's to have you work towards having that available when we get to this stage of closure and that sort of thing. And this number can really change too, depending on how things go with the operations, right? So if during the operation of the landfill you fill a cell, we usually in the operations world, we divide landfills into cells. If you were to fill a cell to its max capacity and then you put a clay cap on it, we could effectively take that closure activity that you've completed as part of your operations and reduce that off of your liability. So we call that progressive closure, and that's something that's we really encourage. And I think as the Bark Lake site continues to evolve, I think that's something that the township can take advantage of and start to write down some of these liabilities. Alana, should we go to the next one? Okay. So Barry's Bay is a closed site. It was closed with final capping completed in 2009. As I mentioned before, the minimum post-closure sampling period on any site is 25 years. So we still have a couple of years left on this one. So liability estimates between 2023 and 2024 have stayed pretty constant. Really, again, the change is the interest rate. The increase is related to the interest rate. The decrease would be related to the fact that we, every year that goes by, we mine into those years of remaining monitoring. So as you guys continue to pay to do the monitoring, it should continue to tick off of the liability estimates on these closed sites. Pug Lake is another one that's in the same situation. We closed that one in 2004, and we're pushing forward. With staff, we're trying to make the argument that this site was closed in 2004, and although it was only finally capped in 2019, we didn't receive any waste in that window in between. So, anyways, we're trying to entice the MOE to agree to this approach, and hopefully we can remove the sampling requirement for this site altogether. And then by doing that, we could take this site off of our liability list. So that would be a big win for everybody here. So, and this site here, the rationale behind that is we don't think that there's any issues with the monitoring. And I know we don't want to get into the details of that, but we have the scientific evidence, let's call it, and we have the historic database to back us up. So we're making that argument that we want to move away from sampling and reporting on this site altogether, and then there will be no remaining liability on this property. The Radcliffe waste transfer site, similar scenario, was closed in 2021, and there's a final cap in 2001. The final cap was put on in 2006. Simple math would indicate with a 25-year post-closure period, we're at about 7 years left. This one here, we're careful. There are some landfill impacts that have been observed in the groundwater table close to the landfill site. So this is one that we have to continue to monitor. It seems to be performing well and attenuating well, but we just have to keep an eye on that. So this one here is one that we have to continue on with. But you can see here, as you march your way through the 25-year post-closure period, your liability starts to drop here now because you're getting into removal of additional years of what I would call a pretty substantially sized program. So next one, yeah, sorry. Wilno is another one that's been closed for quite some time now. We are in the process again of waiting for MECP approval to discontinue this. So once they review this, and Hillary's engaged with the local staff. They came and did a tour of the site last year, a number of your sites. So yeah, we're having open dialogue with the ministry now, and we're trying to get them to approve this. So they've kind of committed to us that they're going to have some technical reviewers look at some of these sites for us, and if we can get them to agree with the science that we've provided, we can start to take some of these sites off. This would be another site that we would look to take off your liability list. Oh, and that's the end of it. So if anybody has any questions, I can field those if you'd like, or if you're sick of hearing from me, I can let Alana talk.
All right. Thanks very much, Tim. Are there any questions from any member of council? I'm not seeing any. I think it was very well explained, Tim, and gives us a good sort of overview of where we are with everything. I see the CAO, Sue Cladd, has a question.
Thank you through the chair. Tim, it was just a point of clarification. So when you were talking about the Pog Lake closure, you referenced you'd be making argument, but that's already been sent to MOE to consider that, correct?
I believe so. Alana, you can't hear any of this, eh? Okay. So do you want to just switch us over to your laptop so that you can hear questions and stuff? Okay.
Sorry, I was just asking. So when Tim was speaking about the Pog Lake one, he said that there would be argument made so that we discontinue the monitoring. But it's my understanding when we submitted for the Barry's Bay and Wilno one that Pog Lake was already on that discussion list. So, or is this a new request that we're making to the MOE?
It's not a new request for Pog
Okay.
Lake. We also requested that one as well.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. Any other questions? I don't see Councillor Blank anywhere. So I'm not sure. Nope. All right. Well, with
Sorry, I do.
Councillor Micah. Sorry.
So with regards to Bark Lake, that's interesting. I like the suggestion of a progressive closure. Hillary, do you understand? Has that a discussion that you've had? With respect
That's
to that?
on for 2025. That's my goal. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm responding to MECP with. Mm-hmm. And I've segmented it out through a pension for proposed location of landfilling this, and we're going to get finish one place, one segment,
Yeah.
and then move on to the next one.
Okay, and Tim, question. I know it's not for discussion, but it directly ties in if we're going to be talking about any type of progressive closure or et cetera with Bark Lake. I believe, I don't even know if it was a year ago, I guess it probably was. And I know this is going to be at a different meeting, but how does that impact a potential capacity expansion? Because I think that was the direction we were looking to move in. Because we can't close it up in 9 years and we have no landfill. So if we were to begin a post-closure, or a progressive closure, I should say, does that then impact an application for an expansion to the site for capacity?
Yeah, so what we want to do is submit an application for an expansion while we're still in an open condition. If we were to close it, and then go back and do that would be a whole new application.
Okay.
So yeah, over your next 9-year window that you have, you want to start down that road of, negotiating with the ministry as to what they would consider an acceptable expansion. So this is, again, this wasn't for this meeting because I know you guys are really tapped for time and you've got a full agenda, but we have provided staff with our report for the let's call it long-term waste management options. So once we incorporate some of staff's comments on that, we can then give that to council, and I'd be more than happy to go through that at a separate meeting. But yeah, the long and the short of it, I don't want to ruin the story for you, is we explored a lot of different options as far as like, let's build a new landfill site. And what would that entail? What properties are available to us, et cetera, et cetera. And then our other option was expansion of the Bark Lake site. In the end, I think the winner, based on the evaluation criteria, is expansion of Bark Lake. So we've now provided that to Hillary, and I wanted to get that to him as quickly as I could so that he doesn't, let's pretend that the expansion is going to be to the eastern slope of the landfill. I didn't want Hillary to close the eastern slope if I'm going to end up putting garbage against it.
Exactly.
So we've tried to get ahead of that. And like I said, that's been put in Hillary's hands now, so he knows what it is. With that expansion, there might be some opportunity to even raise the elevation of the landfill a little bit. We'll have to be careful with that because I don't want to create a ski hill or a visual impact, let's call it.
Yeah.
So there's considerations there, but really we're just going to build it against the side of the hill and try and blend it with the natural landform so it's not obstructive. And but yeah, that's the punchline. So
Okay.
that's our next report that I imagine the group will see, that and the waste capacity for the Bark Lake site and the annual monitoring reports for all 5 sites. So.
Okay. No, great. Thank you very much. So Hillary, that's good. That's all being taken into consideration before we start doing anything there.
Correct, through you, Chair. So I just received that expansion report, and I'll send it on to you
Okay.
as soon as I get to my computer, and then we'll schedule a meeting. So there's 3 major subjects happening on the landfill. I don't know if it's a standalone. We'll talk with the CAO and you, Mayor Merrick.
Yep.
And what would be the best approach? A standalone meeting or flip it into the next council and committee? We'll discuss that.
We can discuss that after.
We should look at it
I just wanted
first.
to make sure we don't start filling if there's a possibility of acquiring and getting the approval to do an expansion. So that's good. I'm glad. Perfect. Thank you very much. You answered my question.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. That was a good answer, Tim. We will be seeing you again shortly, I would think. And thank you very much, Tim and Alana, for your presentation this morning. We appreciate it.
All right, excellent. Thank you much, Your Honor, and I appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with your community. So,
thank you.
All right, well, have a good day.
Okay. All right, with that, we move back to item 11, and that's recreation and community development. And I'll turn the chair over to Councillor Blank.
Thank you, Chair. Can you see me at all yet?
Yes.
Or not?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I thought I disappeared for a while, but I'm... All right, Anna, welcome. We are now at the recreation and community updates, section 11.1 municipal report, 11.1.1, February 2025 rec and community updates. All yours, Hannah.
Thank you very much. So I have a short one for you today. So first thing I want to chat about is the municipal alcohol policy. In December of last year, I did present to council a draft of an updated municipal alcohol policy. I have attached it here, just if there's any comments before bringing it as a bylaw to replace our existing municipal alcohol policy, which I've also attached.
Okay, I reviewed it and I looked at the previous one too, just briefly, and I think it's in fine order, and thank you for doing that. The update is very important.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, continue.
Perfect. BIA executive, in January, the Barry's Bay BIA held their biannual annual general meeting and voted in a new executive who will serve a 2-year term. The new executive is made up of past and new members, and I have a list of who it is comprised of. The new executive will hold their first meeting this month, and they'll deliberate the group's budget for the year, as well as review the existing terms of reference. Any suggested changes will be brought to council in March.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Micah, you're the committee rep on the BIA. Any comments from you, and would you like to make the motion at this time, or do we wait with the motion?
I don't have any comments. It's a new structure, a new group, and it's transitioning. The original founding members of the BIA were, they were the executive for years and years. So that entire executive they're retiring. So this is an entirely new group with no presence from any of the old members or executives. So there's going to be a transition period. They have, there's things they want to do. They have good ideas, but they are going to need some support and guidance through, whether it be through Amanda on the financial side and Hannah, obviously. So we'll see. I mean, the last meeting that was just elected, so their first real meeting will be this week, and we'll see how that goes. And so we'll
okay.
see. and good for them, to step up, because the one thing I do want to say, the BIA, these are volunteer members from the business community. So, it's really appreciated that they have a revenue line that they've agreed. They tax themselves. It's not taxpayer money. And then, their goal is beautification and, support for the downtown business, Barry's Bay business area. So I do give them a lot of credit, because it's taking time out of their work, and they're enthusiastic, and I think that's great. It's a lot of work to be a volunteer.
Thank you, Councillor Micah. Yes, I totally agree. It's wonderful to have the BIA and the new people on board and our community moving along in such a way. Thank you. Okay. Look. Any other comments regarding that? No? Okay. 11.1.2 donation.
Through the chair.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Did you want me to read the recommendation?
Yes, I did. I was going to wait till the end, but then I thought, okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. That council and committee recommend to council to approve the Barry's Bay Business Improvement Area BIA executive for the term of 2025 to 2027, which consists of Liz Woosley, chair, and Micah, vice chair, Lisa Murray, secretary, Allison Tubby, treasurer, Carla Campbell, board member, Fatima Adams, board member, Pam McNichol, board member.
Okay, we have the motion, and I will. Councillor Micah, would you like to move that?
Yeah, so moved.
Okay, I will second that. Any comments? All in favor? Carried, thank you. And now 11.1.2.
I'll just quickly wrap. Sorry, I'll just quickly wrap up my report. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm on my phone trying to read it because I don't have a paper copy of the agenda. So
all good. So March break is filling up with public skating now every weekday at PJY. There'll also be events taking place in collaboration with the library and the Barry's Bay Recreation Committee. So discussions are taking place. We have been successful in our bid to host Taste of the Valley once again, this time in August of 2026. They have moved to a cycle of every 2 years. So we're excited to partner again with the county for another successful event. Lindsay Libby and the Makers Market in Madawaska Valley will once again manage the Madawaska Valley Artisan Festival, which is scheduled this year for July 12th at the railway station. We're thrilled to work with Lindsay once again. She puts on a great event. And finally, an expression of interest for the sale and removal of the caboose has been released and closes on March 31st. A number of interested parties, mostly historical societies, have reached out with questions and to express interest. So that's it for that one.
Okay, thank you. It's good to hear that someone is interested in the caboose that can make use of it within their communities for their purposes. Thank you. I have a question just regarding the upcoming events this weekend. I do realize that the MV Wolves have a game and it's changed its time now. It's not at 7 o'clock on Saturday, is that correct?
Yeah, we're starting an hour early at 6 p.m.
Okay, so I predict we're going to run into a lot of problems for the group coming in for the 6:30 door opening for the Barry's Bay Recreation Gail Gavin concert. These people will be of the older generation, and I'm afraid that parking may be a problem. Any comments on that from you, Hannah or Hillary? Is there anything we can do or look at? Just I'm looking ahead, so something to keep in mind.
Probably the Wolves crowd will be kind of well seated by the time the Gail Gavin crowd is moving in. We have hosted kind of dual events at the arena before. We've had the Christmas party in December. So hopefully we do have just a similar structure where people are, parking where they should park and using the parking lot wisely, and we'll hopefully have no issues.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Hillary, any comments? No?
I believe the trick when there's a lot of vehicle traffic is to get them 2 rows going to the right as you go in. If you can stagger that, and maybe have a parking guy there to set that up, do you ever gain a lot when you put 2 rows back to back to the snowmobile trail?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that might be a good trick to engage maybe with a fire department individual.
In past, people have been good at parking in the 2 rows. I know Sue has started it a few times and so have I. So it's just a matter of having one vehicle start it and then it should follow through. I don't know if we should have somebody from directing traffic or not.
Yeah. It's an option.
I think, yeah, it's an option.
Yeah. If we can set the pattern early, it seems to work good.
Yes, because people will start going to the 6 o'clock game by 5 o'clock. So, yeah. Okay, all right. Thank you. We'll just hope for the best on that. Thank you. Okay, Hannah.
So I do have just a second report here, a donation request from the group that organizes the Terry Fox Run annually. They have reached out nice and early this year to request use of the Lakeshore Tennis Court grounds to act as a starting and end point for their annual event. They also request use of a barbecue and a few picnic tables. The event this year is scheduled for September 14th, and the Lakeshore Tennis Committee will be made aware of the request, though, of course, they've never had any issues with it.
Excellent. No, I think that's great. So the recommendation, Sue?
Thank you through the chair. That council and committee recommend to council to approve the use of the Lakeshore Tennis Club, as well as use of a township barbecue and picnic tables for the annual Terry Fox Run on September 14, 2025.
And we need a motion? Moved by? I can't see the picture. All of us. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, well, let's go with Joseph, seconded by David. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Anything else, Hannah? Correspondence and information?
Nope, that is it for me.
Unfinished business? Any unfinished business? No.
Nope.
All right. Thank you. I will hand back the gavel.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Blank, and thank you, Hannah. Before we move into planning and development, anyone want a short break or are we good? Okay, so we will take a short break now and come back at 11:15. Could I get a mover? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Schulis. All in favor? And that's carried. So we'll see. Sorry, I didn't have my mic on, so I'll have to do that all again. We're now into planning and development, municipal reports. And item 12.11 is the development agreement for 75 four-wheel drive lane, Campbell, and it's file number A2024-09. And do we have Forbes here?
Yes, I am, Mayor.
All right. Okay, so we do have a recommendation coming forward. Are there any questions on this? We have discussed it before. I'm not seeing any. So could I get a mover, please? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Schulis. Any discussion? Seeing none.
If you just wonder through the chair, if you
Mayor.
just want to read the recommendation.
Who's got the question? I can't see.
Oh,
Sue?
Sorry, I was just going to ask if we could possibly read the recommendation. I can read it through the chair.
Yes.
That council and committee receive this report for the execution of a development agreement as information, and that staff are directed to bring forward a final bylaw to the February 19, 2025 regular meeting of council to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into a development agreement with John and Jennifer Campbell, being the registered owners of 75 four-wheel drive lane, to be registered on the title of the lands.
Okay, and I have a mover and a seconder, and there was no discussion, so all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, item 12.12, development agreement 577 Blinsky Roads. This is Hicks. And it's consent file number B215/22 brackets 1 and B216/22 brackets 2. And there is a recommendation again. I'll ask the CAO to read that.
Thank you through the chair. That council and committee receive this report for the execution of a development agreement as information, and that staff are directed to bring forward a final bylaw to the February 19, 2025 regular meeting of council to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into a development agreement with Steve and Pauline Hicks, being the registered owners of 577 Babinski Road, to be registered on the title of the retained and severed lands.
All right. Once again, I'll ask for a mover. Councillor Blank, seconded by Councillor Micah. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. So now we move on to item 12.1.3, road transfer agreement, severance application number B117/22, Hassanville Community Association. And we do have a recommendation again. I'll ask the CAO to read that.
That council and committee recommend to council to finalize the draft road transfer agreement, and that council and committee direct staff to present the final road transfer agreement bylaw at the upcoming regular council meeting to satisfy the severance condition number 2 of consent application number B117-2.
All right. Could I get a mover for this one? Councillor Schulis, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. Any discussion?
No, none.
Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that's carried. And we now move on to correspondence and information, and we have the building permit stats for January 2025. Any discussion? All right, we'll move on to outstanding matters, which there are none that I'm aware of. So with that, thank you very much, Forbes. We'll move into finance and administration. So item first, we'll deal with municipal reports. Item 13.1.1 is the property tax arrears update. And this is for information. I'll ask Amanda to speak on this.
Through you, Chair. So this is the report by the Deputy Treasurer. As you can see within the report on the agenda, that as at December 31st, 2024, the unpaid taxes were $934,070.60. Excuse me. Unpaid penalties were $99,132.88, making a total tax arrears of $1,033,203.48. We strongly believe that the postal strike severely affected our ability to collect on some of these arrears. Because as you can see, I've provided you with a report as at February 3rd, 2025. The total unpaid taxes were down to $757,070. So what typically happens is a tax bill goes out and people forget. You know, it goes out in August and it gets put aside and they forget. And then we would typically send out a reminder notice at the beginning of December, and we would receive a lot of taxes at that time. But because of the postal strike, we weren't able to send out those reminder notices. And so that is what happened. So if there's any questions from council.
All right, are there any questions of Amanda? Okay.
Nope.
Seeing none, we will continue on. The next item is the item 13.1.2, financial indicator template, 2024, Township, Madawaska Valley. And again, this is for information. Amanda?
It is. So this is our financial indicator template based on our 2023 FIR and financial statements presented to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. So as they say, it's important to note that these are a snapshot in time, as our finances can go up and down as time passes. Again, not a lot of changes based on our last year. Or based on the previous year, we continue to remain in the low level of risk threshold for total taxes receivables. The only one that is continuing is the annual surplus deficit as a percentage of own source revenues, which has remained in the moderate range for a level of risk. However, based on the numbers, we are slowly moving into a low level of risk, and I'm hopeful by the end of 2025's numbers that we will be in low all across the board. So if there's any questions from council.
Are there any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
The deputy treasurer works, she has committed a lot of time to working with residents for tax arrears. It has been her sole focus for the past many months to sit on that phone and meet with residents, and she's very good at it. So that helps.
Yeah, no, that's great. All right, I'm not seeing any questions on that one.
Sorry if I may.
Oh,
Sorry if I may through the chair. I do believe Councillor Blank had her hand up.
okay. Sorry, it's
That's
very
okay.
hard to see you because you're so small. You're big now, but you were small.
Okay, no comment on that one, Your Worship. So no, just that when you were commenting, Amanda, regarding the annual surplus deficit, and you say it's at a moderate, but when you look at the previous years, it's been coming down. So
yes,
it is, that's a very positive thing.
Yes.
And even with the amount of people not paying their taxes, I think we're still on a very good panel. And I think you've done excellent work with that. So I'm looking forward to you saying that we're going to be low soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Blank. And yeah, if we could keep you that size, it would be easier to see. We'll move into item 13.1.4, policy review procurement bylaw. And again, this is for information.
Through you, Chair. We've missed the investment overview.
Oh,
13.1.
sorry, we did miss one. Sorry. 13.1.3, the investment overview, and again for information, Amanda.
Yes, so just in accordance with the Municipal Act, we're Regulation 43897, I'm required to provide an annual overview of the investments. And so that's what I've provided with you. So the first page is our investments with IG Wealth Management. We have done very well with our investments, quite healthy, keeping them with the GICs and the short-term income funds with an annual return on investment of 4.52%. And then the next couple of pages are our investments with Mandeville. And again, healthy returns on our investments, showing in the gain-loss column for the first 2 pages, and then again on the last page. And those are split by the 2 different accounts. One is for the water and wastewater services, their investments, and then the other is the general taxation.
Okay, are there any comments or questions on these? It seems like we're doing well, so looks good to me. All right, if there are no other comments on that one, we will move on to the item 13.14, policy review procurement bylaw. And this one is CAO Sue.
Thank you through the chair. This is again, just for information. It has been circulated to council and staff. Just asking for the content to ensure that council is on board with separating the two, one being a policy for process and the other one being the procurement guidelines for services and goods. The deputy clerk and I are still going to be doing some formatting of itself, but the content is included in there. I've been requested some of the questions that we will ensure is included, as I believe both the mayor and Councillor Micah had asked if there was a reference in there about having some priorities to Made in Canada, which there will be added in there. But I welcome your input. I would like to bring the final bylaw to the regular council meeting on February 19th.
Well, I think this has been a lot of work, and it's well done. Separating the two was a good idea and a good process. Any questions? Councillor Micah.
So just one, under, on page 4, or 185 of the agenda, but page 4, under goals and objectives, would like to see all of H removed, so HI and HJ, and in that section, we could reference the preference for Canadian made.
Sue, your thoughts on that?
So noted.
Okay. And Councillor Blank.
Yes, sorry, you're saying under goals and objectives, number H?
Yeah, all of H.
Provide for reciprocal, that one? Okay.
Yeah, and I and J, under H, just that whole section, and then H could just be H, and however we want to word it, but preference for Canadian made, if we're able to do that.
Okay, so why J?
Well, I'm not sure why we're incorporating social policies into buying things. That's irrelevant to purchasing a truck or whatever. And the same analogy for J, yeah.
Through the chair, I do still have to reference the importance of the AODA.
That AODA must be included in a procurement policy?
Well, under everything that we procure, that we do take some of that into account, yes.
Well, I'm not comfortable with that. And if I would like to see in legislation where we must incorporate climate change, or we must incorporate diversity factors in buying a truck. That's social policy that this is just a procurement document, and I don't understand why there would be preference given in any of those circumstances when we're putting out a tender, or we're putting out an RFP, or we're putting out to buy goods and services. Because the objective is to get the best price for our taxpayers. It's not contributing factors of any of those other issues, other than clearly supporting our Canadian-made goods, and which has been very much brought to the attention in the last several weeks with what's been going on.
Okay, Councillor Blank.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The social procurement, I think, is very important because it's not just trucks that we're procuring, okay? It can be elevators, it can be doors, it can be many other things. And that's why we have to follow the ODA requests, the Accessibility of Ontarians with Disabilities Act. If we're not, we're slapping them in the face and refusing to say we acknowledge them as part of our municipality. When it comes to buying things that we need within the community. It may not be required for a truck, it may not be required for a lawnmower, but it may be required for other things. And I think it definitely has to be left in.
Okay, Sue,
Can
I'm going to go to Sue
I
first.
just want to, because I think we're confused. I'm not suggesting we're not buying elevators, Mary. It's not about the particular good. It is about awarding a tender or a scoring system that gives preference to.
Yes, I understand.
Yes, so it's not about buying an elevator. It has nothing to do.
No, I do understand that, Councillor Micah, thank you.
Okay, Sue?
If I may, I did want to add that as well. It's not just purchasing trucks, it's procuring goods and services. So it's consulting services, it's ensuring that if our RFPs include what is required to put in there as it pertains to the AODA. If you'd like me to get you a legal, I will. I do believe that this should be staying in there, and I'm welcome to give you get some more content for that if you'd like.
That would be fine, but I just don't understand what that has to do with getting a good deal or a good price on a service, on a whatever.
All right, I think we'll leave it with CAO getting more information on that to clarify it. But I think we can move on, and this will be coming back to council. But we should try to get that clarified and cleared up as much as possible. So, any other comments? Questions? All right. So we're receiving this as information. We will now move on to correspondence and information. Item 13.2.1 is the 2024 Treasurer's Statement of Remuneration and Expenses. And that's for information. Does anyone have any questions? You all have the report.
No.
Okay. And then item 13.2.2 is the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund, supporting documents. And this is the first payment notice. And Amanda?
Through you, Chair. I just thought I'd put that on there at the beginning of the year because I think it's important. You know, we could be behind in filing our financial statements and you wouldn't know, right? So if I provide this to you, at least you can see we filed on time and the MMAH is confirming that, yes, we will receive our OMPF funding for the year because it was filed on time.
All right. Any questions of Amanda on that? Okay. The next item is the item 13.2.3, Municipal Disaster Recovery Assistance Program, and this is just a letter of receipt of our application. Anything else you want to say?
It's just sorry, through you, Chair. It's just an acknowledgement that the application was filed and received by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs. Just an update. I did contact our advisor in Kingston, and because of the election, no decision will be made until the new government is formed. So no discussion can be made on it, and no decision can be made on it. So everything is on hold.
Everything's on hold right now. All right. Okay, with that, we do not have any unfinished business. We'll move into the regular council portion of the agenda. We have confirmation of minutes, starting with the meeting minutes, council and committee meeting minutes, January 14th, 2025. And we do have a recommendation that council and committee meeting minutes for January 14th, 2025 be approved as presented. Could I get a mover on that? Councillor Shula, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. Any discussion, comments on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor? So those are carried. We also have item 15.2, which is we have a recommendation that the special council meeting minutes for January 16th, 2025 be approved as presented. Again, I'll ask for mover and a seconder. Councillor Blank and Councillor Micah. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. We have no business arising from the minutes. Is there any new business? Seeing none, we will move into our bylaw, and we have a recommendation regarding bylaw 2025-04 interim tax levy. And the recommendation is that bylaw 2025-04 being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy to provide for the payment of taxes and to provide for penalty and interest on of 1 1/4% be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 4th day of February 2025. Again, I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Blank, seconded by Councillor Schulis. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. We do not have an in-camera session today, so we now move on to the confirming bylaw. The recommendation is that bylaw 2025-05 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Madawaska Valley at the Council and Committee meeting of February 4th, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time, finally passed this 4th day of February. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Micah. And I have a motion to adjourn. Recommendation that the council and committee meeting adjourn at what time? 11:40. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Blank. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you very much, everyone.